Alright, y'all, we're back, and we got a Zapdos now. So, last video was Articuno, now we have Zapdos. Like I said, they are... So, here's what I'll say. All three of them are slightly less bulky physically and have less HP, because HP is based more on size now, and also I've tried to make the HP stat a lot more consistent. So they've lost HP, they've lost, Zapdos has lost a tiny bit of defense, although it does retain its 90 base special defense, which is really nice. It's still pretty bulky. I mean, electric flying typing with these two new abilities is very bulky. So, despite losing that little bit of bulk, it's actually gained a large boost to physical attack and a sizable boost to speed. Speed is an obvious one. The other two legendary birds have 105 base speed, with Zapdos being Zapdos should be faster, so he has 115 base, which if you look at the speed tier guide, and you can kind of see how that matches up with current Pokemon. And obviously that's great with Scarf sets, that's great with all kinds of things. The speed boosting stuff, you can run like Agility with no speed investment and be super quick, blah, 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 blah. So this is how he matches up currently. Let's make it a little tinier. There we go. And yes, if you guys have not seen the speed tier guide yet, all you gotta do is just go on the sheet and look at it, and I have all of the... I'm adding on Pokemon as we go onto that sheet. So, that's that. I mean, he's strong, he's got 110 attack, which makes sense because he's all pointy and edgy and strong, and then he keeps the 125 special attack. All three of them have 125 base special attack, which is really fitting and solid and good. Very powerful. And then again, 110 attack is good, especially with his move pool, which I'll cover in a little bit. He actually has some unique covers on the physical side that he does not have on the special side. So, ability-wise, the legendary birds all have different abilities. I consider giving them all weather abilities, but fire flying Moltres would overlap with Mega Charizard Y if I gave it Drought, and then Sweltering Sun. Not only did it feel kind of weird, but also maybe too strong. Even I know it's a legendary, but it would be kind of better than the other two if it had Sweltering Sun. And then Zapdos, I didn't want to give it Drizzle because Raikou was actually going to have Drizzle, which makes way more sense because Raikou literally has a rain cloud on his back, and the deck literally says he summons rain clouds, and he already learned a water move and blah 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 blah. So that's great. But one of Zapdos's in Gen 5, I believe, its hidden ability was supposed to be Lightning Rod, but then they changed it to Static, which is a shame. Lightning Rod would have been great, but yeah, so Lightning Rod is very obviously fitting. Technically, it has slight overlap with Tornadus, probably Therian will retain Volt Absorb, or maybe Motor Drive, but Motor Drive feels kind of weird. I know that like Electivire has it, and Electivire isn't artificial, but it's almost kind of artificial. This theme is not good on loop. I don't like it, but I don't like this on loop, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'll just play this, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard this theme, actually. Yeah, I don't know if I like this either, actually. Yeah, I don't like this. Sure, I'll just put this 10 on. Alright, y'all, sorry for that. So, as I was saying, yeah, Lightning Rod is great. I mean, you're neutral to electric, and you become immune, and you get the +1 special attack. You switch it on an electric move, or you just wall electric hits with it. Very, very good. I don't need to explain any more why that's very useful and powerful for it. Your other ability is an ability that all three of the legendary birds have, called Guardian Gale. Other Pokemon that will have Guardian Gale, well, Mega Pidgeot has it, and then there are other Pokemon I'll be giving it to, such as Vespiquen, Pure Flying Baby Cast Form, non-elemental form Cast Form. A couple others. There'll be more. Altaria, maybe, a couple others. And this is very great because it obviously removes their flying type weaknesses, and that alone makes Zapdos losing the HP and the physical defense not really a big deal when he's not only way faster and stronger on the physical side, but he has two great defensive and offensive. Obviously, these abilities can be used offensively, but they are also defensive abilities by nature because they make you immune or less weak to certain moves. So with Guard and Gale. So with Lightning Rod, you have an immunity to ground and electric, and then you have you have your grass resistance, fighting resistance. You actually have a lot of resistances, which is why Zapdos is pretty fucking good as defensive mon and competitive, because it has resistances to grass, fighting, steel, bug, and flying, and then only 2 weaknesses to ice and rock, both of which are removed by Guard and Gale. So you either have your immunity to electric with Lightning Rod and you get the special attack boost, and you also, can do that in doubles for like absorbing electric moves, or just run Guardian Gale, and you literally have no weaknesses. So you're resistant to grass fighting, steel, bug, flying, and then you have no weaknesses, and then a ground immunity. So that's, I mean, I don't need to explain why that's great. It's great on Articuno as well, but Zapdos' typing works out really well with Guardian Gale because the only two weaknesses are already based on that. So, however, the Zapdos is hurt by the fact that it is the frailest of the three legendary birds, because Moltres will have a much better special defense stat, and then all three of them have, well, actually Articuno has slightly more physical defense, but yeah, this water tastes kind of soapy. Is that just me? I think that's just me. I think I'm crazy. Anyways, sorry. Yeah, those two abilities are great. You can use that for defensive utility, or you can use that for offensive utility to get off like a setup move easier. Because yeah. Another thing about Guardian Gale is I'm 80% sure the AI has no clue how to like bypass it, and so the AI will use a super, like for example, if there's like Snorlax. All right, I'm just gonna first mon I found Snorlax here. Let's say I'm fighting a Snorlax with Ice Punch and Body Slam. The AI was probably, I believe. The AI will still use Ice Punch on Zapdos, despite the fact that Body Slam would do more with Guardian Gale taken into consideration. And they also still count as super effective moves, so you can use Weakness Policy on Guardian Gale, which is really strong. But yeah, your bulk is not the greatest, although with like Assault Vest, you're doing a little bit. Like you can run Assault Vest, Guardian Gale with like Parabolic Charge to heal. That's really powerful, so that's cool. Of course, you have Roost, but then you can't run Assault Vest, and your bulk isn't that great. You would have to invest in it completely to like be really tanky. Although naturally you are tanky, you can take some neutral hits pretty well. So that's awesome. Move pool wise, it's very simple. You have, so here's what I'll do. I'll cover stab options, utility options, setup options, and coverage options. So stab, you have tons of really great stuff. I already talked about Parabolic Charge for healing, and then you have Discharge, which is slightly weaker than Thunderbolt, but it has a way higher, triple chance to paralyze. That's a utility, sorry. Electro Ball and Zing Zap, those are huge. So Electro Ball and Zing Zap. So Electro Ball has 5 PP now, but it always boosts your speed by 1. So the calculation for Electro Ball is kind of shit, and so most of the time you'll probably be doing about 60, maybe 80 base power max on a very, very slow Pokemon, but most of the time you'll be doing 40 to 60 on the first hit. 40 base power if they're similarly as quickly as you. So like, for example, against a 100 base Speedmon, I'm almost 100% sure that Electro Ball would be doing 40 base power. But if it's like a 70 or 80 base Speedmon, you'll probably be hitting 60, maybe even 80, but I doubt 80. The calculation is pretty bad. Hence why I made it so powerful to the point where you're getting +1 speed after each use. So even if you're getting only, I mean, worst case, it's a 40 base power move that boosts your speed by 1, which is really, really good. And then the next time you use it, it'll be even stronger, and then even stronger, and then you can also just use other moves with Electro Ball, so it's really great. Electro Ball's amazing now. I love that buff for it. Super fun, super cool. And then Zing Zap is similar, although the downside, well, the upside being, 1, it has a 30% flinch rate, and 2, it is consistently 85 base power, which is very, solid and good. Downside being it's 90% accurate, so pick and choose. Also, Electro Ball is stronger because 125 special attack versus 110 attack, so I'd say they're about even. Use whichever one you prefer. I would prefer the consistency of Electro Ball, but if I had like a physical nature Zapdos, I might run like a wide lens set with like Zing Zap and Dive Bomb or something. I think that'd be pretty cool. And a couple other, maybe like, I don't know, Roost or something. It doesn't really matter too much. Sword Dance. Sword Dance and Zing Zap is a great combination, and then Nasty Plot and Electro Ball is a great combination because you will get the speed boost or special attack speed boost from the move, and then Nasty Plot and Sword Dance will give you the attack or special attack boost. So that's great. You have other really powerful like physical stab. You got your dual wing beats, which is 90 base power, hits twice. It's 45 base power per hit. Has a 27% chance to flinch overall. Very solid move. Bypasses stuff like Cobble Berry and Sturdy and Multiscale and all that fun stuff. And then you have Brave Bird, which is consistent, 125 base power, 25% recoil. And if you run a Shell Bell, you're only taking 5% recoil. Wild Charge is 110 base power. Has a high paralysis rate as well. I believe it's 20% now. Bolt Tackle has a 30% paralysis rate, which is really, really high. And then has 125 base power, 20% recoil as well. So those are all great. And then you can run those with Shell Bell if you want, because Shell Bell is buffed to 20% healing, not 12%. So you get 20% health back, which is very, very good. That only leaves 5% recoil on these moves. And Wild Charge actually has 0% recoil with what's it called? with Shell Bell. And then at 65, you get Dive Bomb, which is essentially flying type high jump kick. So that's situationally better than Brave Bird, although Brave Bird has a 30% chance to drop defense, and the Dive Bomb has no added effect. And if you miss Dive Bomb, so Dive Bomb is 5 base power stronger than Brave Bird and has no recoil, but Brave Bird has no recoil. But if you miss it 10% of the time, you're taking half your HP. So I would run Wildlands with Dive Bomb. Unless you're doing, if you're not doing a Nuzlocke, then I would just go with Dive Bomb. Unless you also like consistency like me. But that's the downside. The downside is the accuracy, although you have stuff to boost your accuracy. So Wide Lens will make it 100% accurate because I buffed Wide Lens to be 15% boost. It's a reason I bought it because of many things. I bought it because I want to minimize like RNG shit. So if you're using inaccurate moves, you have so many ways to boost it now. With like literally so many different ways. And then Hustle Mons is a big buff to Hustle, which I just love that ability. And then most importantly, I wanted it just because the 10% accuracy boost is really annoying because 90% accurate moves have a 1% chance to miss, and I fucking hate that. So that was one of the biggest reasons I made it 15%, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, yeah. You have very powerful special moves as well. Plasma Shot is 130 base power, 70% accurate, which seems bad, but that's the same as Thunder and Hurricane and Focus Blast used to be. So, like, to put it in perspective, it's really not that bad. And then you burn because like the logic is like, oh, the searing hot plasma, whatever the fuck, it's pretty hot, it'll burn you. Because I made a bunch of moves that are the same thing. They're 130 base power, 70% accurate, and they always burn. I really like that idea, and that works really well with a lot of things. With Wide Lens, that will become 80? Yeah, or 81% accurate, which is good. I mean, that's great, dude. Will-O-Wisp is 90, so like you're getting a 130 base power Will-O-Wisp that's slightly less accurate. It's totally fair trade. But obviously it's still inconsistent. You might want something more consistent. You already have the basic shit. You got your Volt Switches and your Thunderbolts and your Charge Beams. Charge Beam is also excellent. So Charge Beam plus Electro Ball. You could run an Assault Vest set with Parabolic Charge, Electro Ball, and Charge Beam, and get the 50% special defense boost and Guardian Gale, no weaknesses. Boom, you're big chillin', dude. Like. Or you can swap in on a Lightning Rod hit and then get the special attack boost and then use Electro Ball and get the speed boost, etc., etc. I consider giving them Electrify, but it's still overpowered because despite the fact that I made it 1 PP, I still think that the Z move giving you +2 special attack would essentially mean that Electrify will give you +3 special attack, and that's way too excessive for Zapdos. He does not need essentially what becomes Tail Glow. He does not need that, or rather Power Glow in this case. He doesn't need it. You have obviously good special moves. I don't even need to waste my time covering all of it. You guys get it, all right? You got the Aero Blast, which always crits. That is 65 base power, becomes 98 base power with the crit effect, which is nice. You have Razor Wind and Sky Attack on both sides of the spectrum, which are good with Power Herb. And then that's about it for stat. I don't want to waste too much more time on it. You guys get the idea of that. I just wanted to cover the really interesting ones, like the stat boosting ones and stuff, and the stronger ones. Because you're always gonna have your reliable drawback-free moves. Always, they're just weaker. So, recharge is really cool. So what that does is instead of Roost heals by 50%, and it's reteachable as a TM. But the downside is number one, it grounds you, and then the other downside is well, that's not really a downside. I was just gonna say that recharge. Basically, you heal half of 50% of your HP, but you ground yourself, so you can be hit by a ground move that turn. However, and for super effective damage at that, I believe. I don't know if it removes your flying typing, or if it just makes you grounded for the turn. Although I'm pretty sure the grounded removes your flying. Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you ground, like... Yeah, no, there's no way that Zapdos when it Roost is neutral ground. That makes no sense. It's definitely weak. I don't know why I'm second guessing myself. Like I was saying, you have utility stuff with recharge. So what that does is it gives you 1/3 HP as opposed to 1/2. But the second turn, the turn after you recharge, you get a double boost to your electric moves on top of stab. By the way, like that's not even factoring in stab. So that becomes. Let's say you're using like Parabolic Charge. Let's say you're using Thunderbolt, okay? 2. I just 3. Okay, I knew I wasn't crazy. I was gonna say triple the power, but I didn't want to look like an idiot. Yeah, no, it's triple power. Recharge is fucking nuts. I love recharge. It's a fun move. So you get 130 HP, and then the second time you use an electric move, you're essentially getting triple power if you factor in the stab boost because of the way that the math works. I knew I was 3 times. For some reason, my brain was like, wait, it's 2.75. But then my heart was like, no, dude, it's 3 times. Like, don't be stupid. You know, that's like how Sniper used to work. Because Sniper used to be with crits used to be double. It was 1.5, blah blah blah. Okay, back on track. Recharge is great. Other utility stuff. You have Leer, -2 defense. Excuse me. Scary Face, -1 attack, -2 speed. Whirlwind, I've already talked about it a bunch of times, but that's great for stopping like anti-setup leads. So, for example, there's a Lizardmon in front of you that's going to taunt you, or is just way too powerful and you can't set up on it because it's hitting you really hard. Whirlwind it out. Hope that whatever the fuck comes in, you can set up on that. And of course, you only have 1 PP on Nasty Plot and Swords Dance for balance reasons. 1 is plenty, 1 is all you need, but you have to make it count. That's the main nerf, because I'm not too worried about people getting +4, +6, because at that point you're being excessive anyways. You don't need that boost. You're just getting greedy. Unless you're running like no coverage and you're running like low base power stab, then yeah, I guess you might need the +4 to one-shot everything, but that's not fun. It's also good for AI, because then the AI can click the move once and then not have to spam it again and over again. So the AI will click the move once and then move on to their next move. In fact, you can run something like a Last Resort with Swords Dance. You can run like a First Impression, Swords Dance, 1 PP, then Last Resort. Not on the Zapdos, obviously, but on a bunch of mons. I'm getting very off topic, so let me focus back up. So, Whirlwind is good. Mirror Move gives you +2 attack, and it copies the move with 1.5 times power, I believe. Although Mirror Move actually might not boost the power. I think maybe that's Me First I'm thinking of. Yeah, Me First gives the power boost, sorry. Yeah, so Me First is just a better version of Mirror Move, sadly. Which is lame, but it's okay. Mirror Move is still good. You get the +2 attack, and you don't have to worry about taunt or anything like that, and you also counter their moves, so that's cool. Niche, but it's there. Drill Pekka's there, you know, Sculpt Lens and crits. That's it for level up. You have other really cool stuff by level up. By TM and Tutor. Parting Shot is great. Volt Turn is great. Dual screens are nice to have the option for. What other utility stuff? That's about it actually for utility. And then in terms of coverage, you have a lot of great coverage now. So you have Ancient Power, which is weak, but it's solid coverage. You have your Dual Stab, which is already pretty solid. And then you have access to Ominous Wind and Shadow Ball for Ghost, Knock Off, Dark Pulse, Health Thrust for Dark, rather. Signal Beam, First Impression, and Lunge, and U-Turn for Bug. Poison for Poison Jab. Poison Jab for Poison, you know what I mean. Dazzling Gleam for Fairy. Weather Ball is great, although that only works with Lightning Rod because Guardian Gale will override the weather. So, and Weather Ball doesn't turn flying in Guardian Gale. That'd be fucking cool if it did. I wish it did. But I'm 99.9% sure it does not. I am 99% sure it doesn't. What the fuck? Also, Turbulence is a cool ass. Okay, yeah, it remains a normal type move. That's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. That's all. Yeah, just wanted to make sure. Also, that's cool. Turbulence is a cool name for the Japanese version. I could have even kept that low key, but I prefer Guardian Gale. It's just I like the alliteration, and I like the fact that it's like Stormy Seas, Sweltering Sun, Guardian Gale. Like there's alliteration there with all 3 of the abilities. I like that. But otherwise, Turbulence is a cool name. Maybe for another ability one day, or a move or something. Who knows? Regardless, it'd be cool for like a custom ability. Maybe for like another game. I'm getting very sidetracked. Okay, so continuing with the coverage, like I said, you have Fairy with Dazzling Gleam, Weather Ball with Lightning Rod sets can become. So rain sets. I mean, Zapdos is still great as ever in the rain, dude. With the speed boost, it's actually excellent in the rain. Although some of the other electric line types are arguably better because some of them are faster and or stronger, or bulky, or whatever it is, depending on the mon. There are other electric line types, but Zapdos is far from the best, but it is one of the better ones because, well, they're all equal. They all have their own tools, you know, that's the point. But Guardian Gale sets it apart. mostly. And Lightning Rod is there too, but Tornadus Durian is will absorb, so that's not super unique. It is better though, arguably, because of the special attack boost. Back to what I was saying. So I already talked about bug coverage. I already talked about Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse. Oh, I forgot Dark Pulse as well. On the physical side, if I didn't say that. So knock off Dark Pulse, Health Thrust. I'm pretty sure I said Dark Pulse. Nature Power is great, but that also only works with Lightning Rod sets. But rather, Nature Power is actually not that great because I believe. Actually, hold on. Does Nature Power not work if you're a flying type? Somebody could test that in game. I'm way too lazy to test it right now. I honestly would be surprised if Nature Power. I would be very surprised if Nature Power didn't turn into, like, for example, under Psychic terrain. I would be very surprised if the Nature Power didn't turn into Psychic, even if you're a flying type. I'm pretty sure the move doesn't matter if you're flying. It's just if you're affected by the effects of the terrain. So, for example, Electric terrain makes you immune to sleep, but if you use Spore on Zapdos, it's still going to fall asleep because it's not touching the ground. I'm almost 89. I'm like over 80% sure that Nature Power would work though, so that's great for coverage with all of the Surge abilities, and also Electric Terrain isn't that great, but on just by TM. But Grassy Terrain TM, for example, gives Zapdos Energy Ball. Weather Ball with Rain Dance TM gives Zapdos Water Type Weather Ball. Those are all very powerful. Water Type Weather Ball plus 115 base speed plus Thunder and Hurricane is like, we all know how great that is, right? I don't even need to talk about it. It's amazing. So that's cool. Flash Cannon is more coverage. Heat Wave is there still. That's the same as Aeroblast in the sense that it always crits 65 base power. Drill Run is great for physical sets. That's one of the main things that makes physical sets good, is the fact that they have access to Drill Run. I figured Drill Run makes sense since like Firo gets it and shit. I was like, Zapdos has this similar beak. You can have it too. I think it's kind of cool. Takedown is also great for physical sets because Focus Blast is later, and despite being super powerful and not that inaccurate, it's still inaccurate, being 85% accurate, 130 base power, which is still great, but yeah. That's a bit of it. Fucking English, man. That's about it for Zapdos. Not too much else to talk about for them, so thanks for listening, and I'll be moving on to Moltres.